Today I'm going to talk about building an outbound lead list. So I'm really excited to talk about it. Make sure to stick around to the end to get our path to purchase, and that actually walks through your positioning, building a lead list, going out there with your messaging, and even doing your first call and all the way to closing a deal. So it walks through the whole process. So stick around and click the link in the bottom for that. So here's the challenge. If you own a business or you work on growing a business, then at some point you've thought about, how do I get an outbound lead list? And the challenge with that are many. It's like, how do you know those emails are real? How do you get the right person? Is it like, how do you think about how to spend your time and which ones do you reach out to? On the flip side, if you do get the right lead list, you literally have the contact information for the people you want to talk to. I mean, you can land in their inbox, in their LinkedIn, you can talk to them. It's like the new cold call almost. And what's more is, if you have that information, you don't have to spend the crazy amount of money that maybe you might have to spend on different ad networks like Facebook or Google Ads or LinkedIn. So from a cost-effective standpoint, you can bring that down, you can test, but you also legitimately have the person's information. So I remember at Profits for Purpose when we were testing, we were trying to figure this out, and how to get the right lead list. I remember we had this lead list that we got, and we started emailing people, and a bunch of people didn't respond, but this one lady responded. She was head of HR at a Fortune 100 company, and she literally emailed me back and said, "Where have you been? I've been looking for this product. I didn't know it existed. I can't believe you emailed me right now. This is serendipity." And so that was actually 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago that happened. And the company I run today is called Serendipity, based on that response, because getting that lead list, getting in her inbox, being at the right time, right place, created that serendipitous moment. And since then, that's what we've been doing. We did it Profits for Purpose, and now I help other companies do. So with that, I have 4 ways to build a lead list that I'm going to walk through today. So they're all kind of varying levels of difficulty, but so the first one is you build an audience. So that one is, the trick with that one is you actually have to give something out in the world that's greater than the sum of your product, which that's a really interesting thing to say. And if you're a founder, that might even be hard to hear, because you're the founder, this product's your baby. But you need it, like, what's bigger than the product is the pain point. When your product comes and goes, people will still be having probably similar pains that are being solved in new and different and innovative ways. So to build an audience, you need to get out there and promote the way you view the world and the way you solve that pain, and start kind of building an audience. The problem with this one is, the best thing about this one is, this is your best list. These people are attracted to you. The problem with it is it takes a lot of time to build. So with that, I'll move to the option number 2. That's build a list. So, okay, there are a lot of different ways to build a list. We do this for different clients, so we've done it a lot of different ways. I'm literally gonna walk you through right now one way to do it that is working point in time today really, really well. I'll be incredibly detailed, and you just copy it if you want to, or you could call us and we'll do it for you. But okay, so to build a list, build an email list, you can go to LinkedIn, pay for Sales Navigator. It's $80 a month. The first month is free, but you can, then if you have that, you can literally build a list with really specific criteria: title, company size, state, if it's public or private, what school people went to. You can get really detailed, okay? So then you have that. Maybe that's a 10,000 person list that meets your audience. The second thing you do is you go download Seamless.ai. It's a Google plugin. And as you build that list in LinkedIn, you activate that plugin, and it basically acts as a crawler. So LinkedIn will show you, let's say that list is 10,000 people. You have to, Seamless only works if you do it at 2,000 people. And I think the page only shows you 20 at a time. But then you just tab through. You tab through, and Seamless crawls through and goes and searches the internet for those people's emails. Then you're not quite done. What you do then is that gives you, okay, let's say you looked at 2,000 people. That gives you maybe 1,000 email addresses that are above, they say it's like an 80 to 90% confidence in those emails, and then go use a validator. We use hunter.io pretty frequently and run those emails through there. And that actually checks if it's a real email and actually lands. Because you definitely don't want to be sending emails from your domain or your email address that aren't already checked out and real, because that will hurt your domain. So those are the steps to go build an email list. It's fairly manual, but you can totally do it. So option number 3 is you can outsource this. You can have somebody else build a list for you. And okay, so a way that I've done that, and there's, once again, a ton of ways to do this. I'll just give you one way and you can copy it or you can have us do it. But you can go to Upwork, where you can hire anybody kind of on the planet to do almost anything, and let them know what you want to do. You can be kind of as vague or specific as you'd like. And I'll give you a funny story. We did this. We put this out there. We said, hey, we want 2,000 contacts that with this title and these industries and blah, blah, blah. And this guy came back and was like, boom, here's your emails. And we run it through Hunter, and they're all and a lot of them are legit. And I remember, and so this happens pretty frequently. But I remember one time I asked, I was like, how are you doing it? And I bet you everyone we hired on Upwork to do this would give me a different strategy. But this guy's was pretty funny. He said, hey, it's crazy, man. Like, I live in India, and there's this company called data.com. I'm pretty sure Salesforce owns it. And they have this weird deal where if you put an email address into it, you get one token, and one token gets you get access to somebody else's email. And he's like, since I live in India, I literally just upload a list of like 10,000 random Indian emails, and then I have 10,000 credits, and then I can type in your criteria that you want of United States contacts, and I get those because I have all those tokens. And I was like, wow, that's good. I was like, good for you. Keep it going. So you can outsource it. Okay, so you can build an audience, you can build a list, you can outsource it, and the last one is you can buy a list. So once again, just like any of these, there's a lot of different options for this. You can go to like leads411.com. My only advice or caveat with buying a list is you also still need to use your brain and think, is this right? So a lot of times when buying a list, if you're looking for a really specific industry, like veterinarians, let's say, maybe there's a group out there that's done a lot of work with vets, and now they're saying like, hey, we have a huge list of veterinarians and we'll sell it to you. So there's a lot of different industry niche groups that say, hey, we have a lot of emails. My challenge and caveat and caution to you, if you go buy a list, is still think about it. Apply your own critical thinking to this. Are these the right contacts that you want? You can pay a lot of money for a list. So just be kind of really, really careful with that. So I think a common myth that I see with this sort of thing is people say, man, I don't think emailing and buying building a list and emailing people doesn't work. It just doesn't work to get the relationships that I want. And my response to that is you just haven't done it right, because every step along the way, if you download our path to purchase, every step along the way is as careful and as detailed as what I just told you. And saying that this doesn't work is like going fishing in the ocean, not catching a fish, then walking away and being like, there's no fish there. Fishing is not a thing. That's just not true. You just didn't do it right. You didn't look in the right place. You didn't build the list right. You didn't say the right messaging. You didn't make sure that your emails were delivered properly. There's just so many ways to do it right or do it wrong. So I definitely believe in this. I've built companies off of this. I have clients that are killing it with this method, but just make sure to either spend the time not only to know how to do it, but then to actually have the diligence and discipline to execute on it, or work with a group like us to do it. So with that being said, recapping the 4 ways to build email lists. You can build an audience. You can build a list, which there's many ways. I just talked about one of them. You can, what did I say? You can outsource it, or you can buy a list. So those are your 4 ways. And then I'd like to ask you, if you like this content, we're putting it out regularly, subscribe to the channel. If you agree, disagree, comment, let me know what you think. And then lastly, download the path to purchase if you're interested in learning more. That'll walk through all the steps for you, and it's just there to be a resource for you. And with that, I'd encourage you to go out there and create your own serendipity.